All right, I gotta reflect on last week a little bit. So I went 7-8-1, and I finally got a lock of the week. Thank you,
Woo.
Indianapolis. But as I wrote the games down on my sheet and I picked the scores, I won my first three games, so that was 4 points. So I started out 4-0, and I was like, all right, let's go. And then I lost, 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 lost. I lost all 8 of my games I lost. I had written down directly in a row on my paper, and I was like, oh my gosh,
Uh,
I'm never winning ever again. But I ended up rallying on Monday and Sunday night.
so I was pretty similar. With the morning games, I had one or two losses and a push, including, and then I had my lock of the week. Everything else was a win. And then afternoon, night, and Monday night games, I won one game between all of those. So I was like, this is my week, and then it ended up being just a
Yeah.
very average week overall.
It's like I could have written the games down in any order on my paper. It doesn't actually matter. But the way I did, I was just like, this is really bad. But that's okay. So we had a close week last week, and we'll see how we can do this week. It's a weird week in the NFL. Things are starting to get really messed up.
Yeah, my list of games on my sheet is getting shorter and shorter.
I know.
What's going on?
Yep.
All right.
All right. Well, I'll let you start it off then. Well, I guess maybe we can talk about what happened Thursday real quick.
All right. Yeah. So the Thursday night game, you had a 5.5 point spread on it.
Yep.
Tampa Bay was the favorite. I think we probably both expected Tampa Bay to win. I expected them to cover. I had the score 23-17. Uh, that was, I don't know, that was kind of weird. I don't know what happened to Tom Brady. He was throwing up the four, didn't know what down it was.
That was really weird. And
But
then later, he got asked in the post game, and he didn't admit it. And then Bruce Arians was like, no, he knew exactly what down it was. And people were like, I don't know about that. I don't know. It was weird. They started out third. They got up to 13-0, and I picked Tampa 27, Chicago 20. I also had them covering by a touchdown, and things looked pretty good. And then I don't know, man. It fell apart.
Nick Foles looked like garbage in the first half,
Yep.
actually. And then I don't know what happened. Second half, he came out and he looked actually pretty good. He was making some good throws, not making so many mistakes. But we
The
both.
Bears are 4-1. How funny is that?
I don't know, man.
They feel like the worst 4-1 team ever.
I think they are. I think they're definitely not as good as that record shows. And I think, well, they play the Rams next week, so
Yep.
hopefully they aren't. However, or they play the Rams in 2 weeks. However, I saw a graphic on Twitter, which is where I get all of my stats, and
Yeah.
I think they're like the number 6 ranked defense in the league right now overall. So
Makes sense.
I don't know what metric, but they're the number 6 ranked defense in something.
They
So
also played the Giants and who did they play the first? I don't even remember who they played the first week. When they were 3-0. They played the Falcons and they played some really bad teams. We'll see, I guess. Like you said, their schedule will get tougher, and then we'll see. But you can be carried by a good defense for a long time, so we'll see. But we both started out with a loss there, so we'll just move on and you can pick a game for tomorrow.
uh, okay, we'll start in Atlanta. Carolina is playing in Atlanta. Atlanta's somehow. See, they're always favorites because I think people know that they're going to score a lot of points, and everyone's like, well, they're going to win this one for sure.
But what do you have the line?
1.5.
For who?
Atlanta.
I wrote down Atlanta plus 1.5. So
Atlanta minus 1.5.
is that from the things that I texted you?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then I just wrote it down wrong.
Okay, cool.
Continue. Sorry.
Let me check real quick just to verify.
Because I gotta check. I gotta flip the pick.
Ooh, yikes.
I know.
Yeah, Atlanta minus 1.5.
All right. Sorry about that.
You're good. What is this, your first time?
Yeah.
Never placed a bet in your life or what?
This is a professional gamble. Oh, we should probably address that at some point. Go ahead.
We'll talk about it at the end. Or not. We'll just never talk about it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Atlanta winning, covering 30-24. I think they're going to get a win eventually. I'm with the rest. I'm with Vegas. I'm with everybody. I think they're going to win eventually. Their offense is good enough where they're going to score a lot of points. and eventually they're going to be able to hold off the other team long enough to win a game. And I don't think Carolina's offense. I mean, I like Teddy Bridgewater. He's consistent. He's not going to lose the game, but he's also not going to be able to keep up with Atlanta's offense, I don't think. So I have them winning 30-24 at home.
So I had the line wrong, but I just left my score and I adjusted it accordingly. So I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think either team's all that good. I just don't trust – man, I don't trust Atlanta to really do anything. I kind of trust Matt Ryan. I think he's still a top quarterback, but I don't trust Dan Quinn, and I don't trust their defense. And I have them Atlanta winning by a point, but I have Carolina in the bet. Atlanta 24, Carolina 23.
All right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't trust Dan Quinn either, but that offense, there's so much talent. If they get Julio going, which for some reason they refuse to, I don't know if he's playing this week. That might be an issue. But Calvin Ridley's like the number one receiver in the league right now, just because they score so many points, and it blows my mind that they haven't won a game.
They're just like the Chargers of the NFC. They're just like, it'll be a close game, and they'll figure out a way to screw it up, and then they're gonna lose. Like, I don't know. I'm going against them, I guess, until proven otherwise. But
not a bad.
Let's see here. Okay. Next up, Las Vegas at Kansas City. So big point spread. Las Vegas, the 12-point underdog. They looked pretty good against the Bills last week. Derek Carr made some bad mistakes down at the end. He did one of those, like, I'm going down to the ground, so I'm just gonna flip the ball 3 inches in front of me, and somehow that's an incomplete pass, fumbles. So he got away with that one, but then later he kind of lost pocket presence. He got a strip fumble, which essentially ended the game. And then they also got stopped on 4th down in the 4th quarter, which gave the Bills the ball back. They were right in the game. It was a touchdown game halfway through the 4th quarter. And, again, Josh Norman, the cornerback of the Bills, he forced a fumble. So they just basically 3 turnovers in the 4th quarter, and they ended up losing. That's a long way of saying that I think 12 points is too much, because this is what happened last week, okay? I'm not trying to rehash last week.
You picked the wrong one?
What?
You picked the wrong one.
I picked the wrong one, and it makes me mad because I'm 0-3 on Washington. The Washington football team, they were a 13-point underdog, and I was like, it's too many points. Give me Washington for the 3rd week in a row, and they didn't get it. And then I was like, the Rams are going to kill the Giants, and it was a close game. So I'm going back to what I originally said. 12 points is too much. Give me the Raiders plus 12. Kansas City 30, Las Vegas 20.
All right. I have a similar score. I have Oakland plus 12. I said Oakland. That's not a real thing. I have Las Vegas plus 12. Everything you said about Las Vegas, I agree with. And I don't know, Kansas City hasn't impressed me the last couple of weeks. They've been winning games, and they've been winning ugly. They haven't been blowing teams out the way that I expected them to the last couple of weeks. They've been playing good teams in their defense. But I think Vegas, I think the Raiders are good enough to keep it closer than 12 points. So I got Kansas City's 33, Vegas 24, Vegas plus 12 in Kansas City. All right. Moving on. We'll go to Arizona and New York. They're playing in New York. That's the injury turf. That's where everyone gets hurt.
I know, man.
So we don't cheer for injuries, but yikes. That's not going to be good for anyone. I have Arizona as a 7-point favorite, and I don't know. I don't trust Arizona. I don't think they are that great. They had their offense is good. I don't think they're stopping they lost to Detroit. Someone loses to Detroit, I just lose trust in them. So a whole touchdown, I'm not sure. I have them winning 24-20. Arizona, so I have the Jets plus 7.
So I'm pretty sure I haven't gotten a single Cardinals game right this year, and I'm just wading into the waters of getting another one wrong, because you're kind of darned if you do, darned if you don't. It's like I also agree. I also don't trust the Cardinals. Kyler Murray and the pass offense are not getting the job done at the level that they should be, and they lost to the Lions. But it's like, am I going to hitch my wagon to the Jets? Not doing that either. So give me Arizona -7 in a who knows game. Try not to get hurt. Arizona 21, New York Jets 10.
All right.
On to Philadelphia at Pittsburgh. And Pittsburgh is a 7-point favorite in this game. Talk about teams that have been unimpressive. And you're talking about the Eagles. Carson Wentz has the lowest completion percentage to open receivers in the entire NFL this year. Like, it's upsetting. I don't know what happened to him. And I don't have much other to say than I think the Steelers are good and I think the Eagles are bad. So I'm taking the Steelers to cover Pittsburgh 31, Philadelphia 23.
So Pittsburgh. So yeah, I agree. Philadelphia's bad. Their O line is very bad, and Pittsburgh's D line has 3 very good pass rushers. Headlined by T.J. Watt, who's maybe a Defensive Player of the Year candidate this year. I got Pittsburgh covering. Pittsburgh -7, 30-20. Yeah, 10 points.
All right.
Love them. All right. LA in Washington. I picked the Rams to cover last week too, and I thought it was going to be a blowout. Ended up not being the case, so I'm not really sure what's going. Like, I don't know when the Rams are going to score 40, and I don't know when they're going to score 17. That being said, Washington's they bench Haskins. They're starting Kyle Allen, who was the starter in Carolina last year. Did really well, remember, for a couple games, and then just played really horribly for the second half of the season. I'm hoping that continues, and I hope that the Rams score some points. I have them winning 30-17, covering the 7-point spread.
So I have the Rams covering too, and I'm not picking the Rams as much as I'm picking against Washington because, like I said, I've picked them as underdogs 3 weeks in a row, and they haven't covered yet. Okay, and new quarterback, it's kind of a mess over there. So let's say the Rams halfway show up and score 27 points. I have the Rams 27, Washington 13.
Yeah, so the thing that scares me is, though, a lot of teams, they put a new quarterback in, and they have, like, that first game.
That's true.
Yeah, first game always looks good for that new quarterback, and he does really well. And I'm scared of that because I don't think Kyle Allen's going to consistently be good. But, you put the backup quarterback in and he plays really well for one game.
Yeah, that's a pretty good point, actually.
Yeah.
It's like the Mark Sanchez effect. He looked like the second coming of Joe Namath in 3 games, and then it was just like, okay.
So I'm hoping Kyle Allen doesn't ball out against the Rams.
It's just it's Washington, man. I don't know.
I'm not extremely worried about it. All right.
I'm just not picking them. I'm not picking them as an underdog until they actually do it because I've done it 3 weeks in a row and it's not happening. But it is funny how if the Rams looked halfway decent last week, this would have been like an 11-point spread.
Yeah.
And they're just like, let's dial it back a little bit. Okay. Cincinnati at Baltimore. I don't think there's any chance that the Bengals win this game. I think now that I look at my score, I say that the Ravens are going to score 35 points every week because I wrote it down again, and I think they will again. But the point spread is 12.5 points with Cincinnati being the underdog. And I'm sticking to my guns, 12.5 points, that's too many. I have Baltimore winning by 11, 35-24.
Yeah, I like Joe Burrow. He's actually 4-0 against the spread, fun fact. Give him the points he's going to win.
That's good information. We should actually incorporate some of that into our,
random pick.
Random dartboard throwing.
Yeah. So Joe Burrow's 4-0 against the spread. That is a huge spread. I like their offense. I think if he doesn't get killed, then they're probably going to score points. Uh, Baltimore, I do have them winning, though. Baltimore 33, Cincinnati 26. Cincinnati plus 12.5.
Agreed.
I think it's closer than a lot of people. I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think Cincinnati's better than the record, but they're not good. But I think they're better than people think. So I think they're going to be close in most games this year.
I think a lot of games like this too can be like if you sit down and watch every snap, it's not, you don't really ever feel like it's in doubt, but like it is close. But the Ravens have it in control, and then Cincinnati will score, late to try to make it close, and then the onside kick doesn't go. You know what I mean? So if you actually watch it, it's like you weren't too worried, but it'll. I think you're right. I think it'll be closer than people are thinking.
All right, hometown game right here, Jacksonville at Houston. I hate that I live in a town. I hate that I live in an AFC South town. And it has nothing. The only issue with it is that I get the worst games local.
Yeah.
If you look at the coverage map, it's just Jacksonville is always just a random color, and it's just a horrible game.
They're not gonna show like outside of like the legal city limits of Jacksonville. They're like, you get another game. We're not showing.
I have to watch the Jaguars and the Texans more than anyone should have to watch those two teams.
Yeah.
But luckily they put them together this time, so I only have to watch one of them.
Right.
Game. I don't have to split that in half. So Houston is a 5-point favorite at home, and I like them winning. I got them 25-17. I don't know what to say about this game. It's kind of it's a Thursday night game. This should be played on Thursday. That's blah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna add too much more to that. I'm picking Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a 5-point underdog. Houston's hasn't won a game, and they look like they shouldn't have won a game. The last couple weeks, because Houston started off with a pretty tough schedule. The last couple weeks, I think they'll kind of round the corner. I think Romeo Crennel's the head coach now. I don't know. I have Jacksonville 24, Houston 23. To not add much more than that, it's kind of like
Romeo
coin, but
the oldest.
It's going to be an ugly game. So it's an ugly game, and it should be a close game. That's what I'm going with.
Romeo Crennel's so old.
I remember.
He's been coaching.
He's so old. He's so old that those Coors Light commercials where the guys are like interviewing the coach, and it's like Jim Mora of the Colts from like the late 90s and stuff like that. Romeo Crennel's in those commercials. That's how old he is. He's like old coach footage. And he's like, now he's the coach again. It's funny.
He's probably going to try to like run the ball and stuff with Houston's offense, which just doesn't make any sense. All right. Yeah. Miami in San Francisco. This is a bigger spread than I thought it would be. Maybe, I don't know. I got San Francisco minus 9.5. So last week, Miami played Seattle, and their offense did not look that bad. They just stalled out. I think they had 5 trips inside the Seattle 25 that they settled for field goals on. If I think they maybe score a couple touchdowns this week, and I think they cover the 9.5-point spread. I got San Francisco 23, Miami 17.
So I'm not gonna change. Obviously, I'm not gonna change my score from what I wrote down Thursday. But we found out yesterday Jimmy Garoppolo is coming back.
Yeah.
And so, but I think it's a big enough point spread to take Miami plus 9.5. So I have the Dolphins winning outright, 27, San Francisco 26. Now, I don't know that they'll do that anymore because they're not playing like CJ Beathard or whoever. And so I actually, with Jimmy G back, I expect the 49ers to win this game. But I actually feel comfortable with such a sizable spread that I'm going with the Dolphins plus 9.5. Fitz magic, I'll pretend to those who don't actually see that this is a number 14 Stephon Diggs jersey, but it's not. It's a Ryan Fitzpatrick jersey. So I got to go with him he's still got some magic in him.
I'll see.
Think I can take these letters off? And just put Diggs on it?
You could do the Cleveland Brown thing where they just keep covering it.
With the duct tape on?
I'm sure there's a Bills jersey that has something similar.
Yeah, definitely. Dude, we had just as many quarterbacks as they had.
You guys just weren't the worst team during that whole period. You guys were
slightly less sad is all it was.
Yeah, so the news story is always the more sad team. So sadder team. All right, you got Indianapolis at Cleveland next. Indianapolis is only a 1-point favorite. I thought that was weird. They've been playing very well. Cleveland, they've been playing well too. I think if Baker gets it going, gets his offense, he remembered that Odell Beckham's on his team, but he also remembered that he can throw it to other people, which is a good balance.
Yeah. Dude, the Cowboys defense looked terrible. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just picturing that Odell Beckham end around that should have been like a 15-yard loss, and it was the game-clinching touchdown, and it was just like, you guys, like that's not happening against a halfway decent defense.
I agree, and Indianapolis defense is more than halfway decent. However, I like Cleveland. I like what they're doing. I think they're going to go on a roll. I got them winning 21-20, Cleveland +1.
I was watching football Thursday, and I saw one of the Progressive commercials where Baker Mayfield lives at home, and I was like, hey, these are funny again because they're 3-1. It's not just weird.
It was so sad just watching them lose, and then
I know. I was like, they're 3-1, so these commercials are good again. Or at least there's that. Okay, so Indianapolis came out first game of the year and laid an egg against Jacksonville, and my Colts insider let me know that the Frank Reich regime kind of does that. Like, first game of the year, coming off a bye, they don't look so good. So, and it was on the road against a division opponent. Those games are always close. Anyway, they're 3-1, and I have them to win this week. I think Cleveland's offense is going to be kept in check. Indianapolis has a good defense. I think the Colts are going to win the game, and I only got to do it by a point. So I'm going with Indianapolis -1, Indianapolis 28, Cleveland 24.
Yeah. I'm gonna lose my all my Indianapolis friends now. I've been with them this whole time, and I'm picking the Cleveland Browns against them. That's not a good look for me.
You're losing Indianapolis friends, and last week you said bad things about Nick Foles, so you lost all your Arizona friends too.
Yeah, and he looked good. He really made me shut up this Thursday. Well, for half the game.
For like 12 minutes.
Yeah, for 12 minutes, he really got me.
Yeah.
All right. What you got next? You got Giants?
Yep.
Giants at Dallas. Oh, man. Dallas looked – I don't know. Their offense is so good, but they can't stop anything. What was the score last week? Like 100?
I think it was 41-38.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
I think it was the final.
I remember I was like watching the games, and I wasn't watching that game, and I looked at the score real quick, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
They were just getting destroyed by Cleveland at home.
Yeah, they're down. They scored 24 points in the fourth quarter to make it close.
Yeah.
By the end of the third quarter, they were getting blown apart. I
don't think that New York's offense is anywhere near as good as Cleveland's, which, I mean, Cleveland isn't very good either, but were you watching the Rams game at all last week?
No, I didn't actually get to see it.
Okay, so they're playing the Giants, which actually looked better than a lot of people thought, and the announcers were just destroying Daniel Jones, though. Like, he was like, look at him. And they would show the replay, and they were like, look how he stares down this player. And he was just like, he would like stare down the receiver as he was running and then try to throw it. And like the Rams would just, knock it away. Yeah. Very easy. Including the last interception that pretty much sealed the game. He just stared down the dude, and the safety just went and stole it. So with that being said, I think that Dallas' defense is going to do a little bit better just because, no Saquon, Daniel Jones might suck. Giants do suck. And I think Dallas is going to score. I do like the Giants. They show that they can play against good teams and keep it close. So I have them Giants plus 8.5 points. Dallas winning outright, though, 30-23. 30-23, Dallas.
I agree with pretty much everything he's saying. I don't trust the Giants to keep it close, even though they did last week. Like I said, I didn't see the game, so I don't know if that was the Giants playing well or the Rams just being bad. I don't know what it was, but all I know is Dallas is going to score a whole bunch of points, and I don't think the Giants are going to keep it close enough. So I'm actually going to take Dallas minus 8.5. Dallas 33, Giants 20.
Right.
And the Denver New England game doesn't have a spread.
I think they're playing Tuesday.
I don't know the latest on that. Yeah, we didn't address this, but the Bills Titans game is also Tuesday.
Okay.
Pending the fact that the Titans don't have anybody is positive, then the game gets canceled. But here's the thing with that is the Bills play Thursday Night Football against the Chiefs.
They moved that one.
No, they didn't. They moved that one if the Bills Titans game happens.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So what's weird though is let's say the Bills have spent all week getting ready for the Titans, and then Monday night before the game it comes out that the Titans got a positive. Now they have 2 days to turn around and play the Chiefs. So it's like it's not a great situation anyway. But
I think the latest report. I don't know who it was. I think it was Rappaport or Schefter. One of those dudes. Probably Schefter. I think Rappaport went to Twitter jail, but. I think they said that the last round of tests in Tennessee came back with 0 positives.
Yeah, they said that this morning.
So there's a good chance that game happens on Tuesday. Either way, I didn't write down odds for either of those games.
Yeah, me neither. So that moves us on to Vikings at Seahawks.
Sunday night.
I hate picking Vikings games. The Seattle Seahawks are a 7-point favorite. Minnesota actually covered last week, which was nice. But I don't have them covering this week. And I have it actually being kind of a high-scoring game. Seattle 34, Minnesota 25, Seattle -7.
I had – so this is the one that I changed before the show. I had Seattle covering, and so it's going to be raining. It's going to be Seattle's going to be raining. Russell Wilson, believe it or not, actually doesn't do that well in the rain. And I don't know this. I didn't look up any facts, but I listened to Warren Sharp, and he said it. And he's so that's a thing. Minnesota, on the other hand, their offense has actually been playing very well. They have a couple good receivers. Justin Jefferson's back, not back, but they started using Justin Jefferson, and he's actually playing well, which has really opened up the run game. Dalvin Cook's been playing a lot better, and they've been scoring more points. I do have Seattle winning, but I have it really close. I have Seattle winning 28-27 at home. Close game, maybe a field goal at the last minute. No, I guess a touchdown the last minute. And I have Minnesota covering +7. I like Minnesota. They're gonna eventually come through from there. Hopefully they'll win outright this time. We'll see.
I think the Seahawks are the most legit 4-0 team in the NFL right now. Huh?
More than Green Bay?
A little bit more than Green Bay.
I think Seattle's defense is gonna give up points. That's the thing. I think
Me too. That's why I have it actually ended up a high scoring game. But
I also don't think Green Bay's defense is very good. So who knows, really?
I think Aaron Rodgers is just like a world destroyer, and he's like on his NFL vengeance and Packers front office revenge tour. And so I think as a team, maybe as a whole thing, I think the Seahawks. But that's not that I don't know. The Packers are good. They're not playing.
I definitely think the Packers are gonna fall apart. Maybe in the playoffs later on in the season, somewhere around there. That chemistry is eventually going to catch up to them.
Yeah.
And I think, they'll probably go in as a 2 seed, one or 2 seed, and hopefully they lose. I don't want to see them win. I don't want to see Seattle win. I just don't like the NFC. All right. Monday night game. The Los Angeles Chargers are in New Orleans. Chargers are a 7.5-point underdog. I don't think New Orleans is that great. I said it last week. I've been saying it. They, I think, continue to prove me wrong. I'm not sure. Yep. They like to prove me wrong, and I'm gonna roll with it. I got the Chargers winning 23-20. I think that's one of the stadiums where the fans make the most difference, and the fact that they don't have fans, I think, is a big deal. I think Michael Thomas might be back this week. He wasn't back last week, like I said, but I think he's coming back this week, which that'll make a big difference, and that might screw over my pick. But I want them to lose, so I'm going with Chargers. Go ahead.
Follow your heart, not your head. It's a good way to gamble. So, like you said, New Orleans are a 7.5-point favorite. I kind of, even though they proved me wrong when they played the Raiders at home, I feel good about New Orleans at home. Like you said, they don't have the crowd, but I think Old Man Breeze and the AstroTurf and the dome there just plays good enough. And like you said, Michael Thomas is coming back. Justin Herbert starting he's not starting for the first time, but he's the starter going into the week for the first time this week.
He took first team snaps for the first time, I guess.
Right. And so as long as his lungs don't get stabbed with needles, he should be playing. And I'm taking New Orleans to cover. New Orleans 30, Chargers 17.
All right. Like we said, there's a couple of games that we don't know if they'll be played or when they'll be played, so we didn't do those. I don't know, it's weird. This whole season's kind of, I don't know how the NFL is gonna keep up. I think they're gonna have to like either shorten the season or do something because there's only so many.
I think they're gonna. Well, okay. I have some thoughts real quick. So one, I think from the beginning they should have said like 12 or 14 game season because that would have given them either 3 or 5 weeks of cushion to move stuff and play stuff around. But since they didn't do that, they were like, everyone gets one bye and we're doing the full season. They should have just said, it's like, it's fair for everybody because we're telling you it's week 0, okay? If you can't show up to the game and play on Sunday or whenever your time is, it is a forfeit and you get healthy and you move on. Like, it's just, we're not baseball. The St. Louis Cardinals played like 20 doubleheaders in a month, right, to catch up. And it's like, that's nothing like remotely close to that's happening. You can't even have, I mean, what's the minimum time between games? 4 days, right? And so
and players
they've
complain
done that. Now that they're doing that, they just have to, if the Titans can't go Tuesday, they have to forfeit that game, and they have to retroactively forfeit the Steelers game because the Steelers can't just be waiting around and like having their bye. It's not fair to them either. So it's like they should have just said that from the beginning, so it would have been fair. And they should have said, now the practice squads have 12 people this year instead of 10, and you can activate 4 people from the practice squad to the game day roster up to 30 minutes before kickoff. So that's a big change too. Yeah. And they should have just been like, I think they should have said, we're playing all the games. If you can't show up, you forfeit. But you get 12 guys on your practice squad, and you can call up all 12 of them 30 minutes before kickoff. Like, bring a team to the stadium to play, and if you can't, you can't, and just move on. That's what I think they should have done because now they're screwed. I don't know what they're going to do. If this Titans game doesn't get played and the Titans are 2 games behind, I don't know what they're going to do.
They can't catch up. They can't move enough games. They only have 1 bye week.
They're going to have to shorten the schedule then. Yeah, but how do you do that? Because they could have just been like, okay, everyone only plays their division opponents once. That would have made it fair or something like that. But now it's like, well, I've already played one of my division opponents twice, and I haven't played my other one yet.
Rams haven't played a divisional game yet.
Right.
So that's a big
deal. How do you do that? I don't know.
I do think, though, the NFL has a scapegoat right now. They could, because of the whole Titans are practicing on a high school football field, super secret, like because no one notices the 300-pound men running around the high school football field.
Yeah.
I think the NFL could be like, hey, as a punishment, now you guys have to forfeit those games, and any other team that can't play also has to forfeit those games. Like they could use that to make up for their mistake.
Yeah.
Saying this from the beginning and just be like, hey, we're gonna blame it on Titans, but from now on, these games are forfeits. So I think they have a chance to do that, and I still don't think they have which is ridiculous. But you're right. It gets to a point where if the Titans don't play this week, when are they going to play? And like they still have the Steelers game. Like the Steelers can't just keep that they have like a binder. Like, all right, this is the game plan for the Titans game. We're gonna bust that out just in case we ever have to play it on like a Wednesday in 3 months.
And it's not fair. They're like, yeah, take your bye week in week 4, even though it was week 8 or whatever, and now you have a game then. But now I don't know. Also, you're right about them being able to use the Titans as a scapegoat, but it's also like they're not doing that unless now they can. Like the game they're going to play Tuesday. So like they're fine with it. They're fine with everyone breaking all the rules and practicing if the game's played. But if they get a positive test tomorrow, then they're going to be like, now we're not fine with it. And now the thing you did last Tuesday, now we're mad about it. But as long as you guys play, then, we're not mad about it. So it's just, man, they really, I think, missed the boat, which is a little surprising.
You think so? You think it's surprising for the NFL?
I think it's surprising
how poorly planned it was
from a planning standpoint. Now,
I agree.
Like weirdly unfair punishment of the players, and how do you do that? Like the NFL's been bad at that over the years. Like this guy knocked his wife out, so he's banned forever. This guy did it, but he's a first-round draft pick because he's really good. Like that stuff, nothing would surprise me with like punishments and weird stuff like that. But just from like a scheduling standpoint, I thought they would be more on top of it. Just because of how like what's at risk if you don't? Like losing the season.
They had more time than any other league.
Yeah, exactly.
And they did it the worst. Like they didn't have any like backup plans. They're like, we're just gonna play and hopefully we can do it.
I know.
Regular season, and they could have even started the regular season earlier since they got rid of the preseason games anyway.
Yep, and giving themselves a little buffer.
Giving themselves more buffer. They could have, but we'll see what happens. Hopefully, I don't know. I'm kind of leaning towards just making them forfeit and continuing playing. That way, like everyone else's schedule doesn't get messed up, but we'll see.
They could have started 2 weeks early and only played 14 games, right? And then given themselves, like, just built in from the beginning 5 weeks
buffer
of, like, space, and they didn't. So now it's just, like, every week. I mean, it's just going to keep building. So we'll see, I guess. I just don't want it all to get shut down.
Yeah. I don't want to be like week 6 and be like, oh, the season's over, and then I'll just be real sad.
Yeah.
Rams are 4-1, and we can't keep going because Tennessee, all their players are gone.
Dude, I don't want to say this because I don't want to like. Not that I don't believe in jinxing, but I don't want to assume my team is going to win. But the Bills were poised to win the division, right? For the first time in a really long time. And it's like, this is finally the year. It's all coming together. And it's just like, of course, this is the year that it's all.
I feel bad for their fan base, the Browns fan base, because they're both doing well and they're probably both going to make the playoffs. And those fans are like they're the ones out there in the cold and struggling. This is like, oh, your team finally made the playoffs and you're not able to go to a game. Yikes. Sorry.
It would be amazing. Right, if this isn't going to happen, but like, let's say everything just starts getting better, and then like the Bills win the division, and they're hosting a home playoff game for the first time in like 22 years or 21 years, and then it's like, and then the fans can show up, and then that would be like the storybook, but that's not going to happen either.
Yeah. Hey, you want to go to the Super Bowl if the Rams and Bills make it?
Well, no one's going to go to the Super Bowl if the Rams and Bills make it.
Yeah. What do you mean?
They're not gonna let people go.
They're gonna be like $1 million a ticket.
Yeah, because you're right. They're gonna they're gonna let like 12,000 people in, and so your $2,500 nosebleed ticket is now like multiply that by 3 or 4 because that's how many. That's like the fraction of people that can actually go.
I was looking at the tickets for Tampa when the Rams go, and the nosebleed like corner, they're like $200 a pop. And
yeah,
real sad.
It's like demand by scarcity type supply and demand thing going on.
It's horrible. But yeah.
All right, we have to do our locks.
I'll go first, right? My turn?
Yeah, you get to go first.
This one I struggled with. I originally had Seattle, and then, I psyched myself out. And now I've got Pittsburgh -7 at home against Philadelphia, 30-20. I think there's no way Philly even keeps it close.
I think that was one of my alternates, so I agree with you. Now, let me talk through mine a little bit because I don't even know exactly what I'm going to go with. I wrote down 3 because you got to go first. So my lock of the week off the bat, for sure, like no question, was Miami plus 9.5. I think if CJ Beathard or Nick Mullins starts that game, Miami wins outright. But even though, like I said earlier, I think even with Jimmy G playing, 9.5 is still enough to let me take the Dolphins. My second choice I wrote down was, that's not the Pittsburgh one, was Vegas plus 12. But I don't like having to rely on Kansas City to not score a jillion points. So I am going to go with Rusty, Jimmy G, and the Miami Dolphins lock of the week plus 9.5 points. I think it's enough. I think it's enough to get it done. So there you go. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck tomorrow.
Oh, real quick. So I predicted the for the fans here. I predicted the Bills-Raiders score exactly correct. Bills 30, Raiders 23. And it dawned on me that since we're going through the business of picking the scores, instead of just making it for fun, because otherwise we could just say the spreads and move on. If you nail the score exactly, you get a bonus point. So for the listeners, we're going to be doing that going forward.
Sounds good.
There you go. So good luck.
All right. Thanks. You too. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right. Talk to you later.